Welcome to Shad's Guitar Show. Whether it's the gear or the players who made the gear famous, this podcast is about all things guitar. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Shad's Guitar Show. Thanks for joining me today, and it's kind of a rainy, dreary sort of day, but some cool things happened. One being that I received a new album that I bought off of eBay, and it's a Christian band called the 77s. This particular album is a live album called 88, and it was from 1988. But it is just a fantastic album. Now, I know a lot of people might check out when they hear Christian rock, but this is the real deal, legit Christian rock. It's blues rock. I mean, it's as good as anything you'll hear out there. It's the real deal. Incredible guitar playing, great songwriting, high energy, just really, really good stuff. And it's an incredibly difficult album to find, this 88, this live album. It's not on streaming platforms that I could find. Somebody has put it on YouTube, which is cool, but I have been trying to find it for a long time, and I finally found a copy sealed, brand new on eBay. And it wasn't cheap, but this album has meant so much to me, especially at a time in my life, so I just had to have it, and I've been listening to it this afternoon and just really remembering what an amazing record this really is. But for this episode, I wanted to look at the bigger picture of music and what it means to us and how powerful it is. And in this day and age where, we're starting to enter this time of AI, created music, and it's a real hot topic right now. As you guys know, there's all kinds of for and against sort of ideas about it, but I think as a general rule, musicians are not super into the idea of AI created music because it sort of takes away from what we do. And I don't know where you fall on it. I don't even know entirely where I fall on it. I think there's validity to some of it, but I think there's just no substitute for humans creating music for me as a general rule. Maybe if you're using AI technology to create some kind of background theme or whatever, I get that. But as far as music that actually resonates with you and that you connect with, I don't know. Something about a computer generating it and not a living, breathing human being making the music just doesn't seem right to me. But that's actually a tangent for another time, and I don't really want to get off on a rabbit trail here. For our purposes today, this episode is about music that has affected you in your past. And I really wanted to touch on this album from the 77s called 88, the live album. I know I've said it like 9 times now. Sorry. But there are those records that were just so impactful at a time in your life, maybe for good, for bad, like maybe great things were going on in your life, and there's an album that just always reminds you of those times. But I think more often than not, music, a lot of times, the stuff that affects us the most deeply and that resonates with us the most is the times when maybe we're, sad or, confused or lonely or just kind of feeling down. And this album came into my life at a time when things were very chaotic for me. It was in, I think I found out about this record in like 1991. And it was kind of a time right after high school. A lot of my friends were moving away and going to college. And, they had wanted me to come, but I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was kind of like, I don't really want to leave. And things weren't really great there either because for me, I was really trying to go back to church, really trying to reconnect and kind of sharpen in my faith. And the girl that I was dating at the time wasn't into that idea. That wasn't something she wanted to do. So I was really wrestling with a lot of things at this time. My core group of friends were all kind of moving up to Northern California to go to school. I had this relationship that just wasn't working. And I wanted to, really kind of strengthen my faith and get back into church and move in that direction. But I was feeling really just displaced and confused, and I didn't really know where my place was. And I was just feeling kind of lonely. And I ended up taking a job and meeting a good friend that's still a friend to this day, named Paul. He was a couple years younger than me, but he was a guitar player. And at that time, I had been just really starting to learn to play the guitar. But this kind of put it into overdrive for me because Paul was a pretty decent guitar player, a good Christian brother, and just somebody who, was there for me at a critical time in my life. And it was the first person that I met who had ever been in a band, and he was interested in starting a new band, and he and I ended up being in a couple bands together over the years, and it was just a really great time. But this album just really takes me back to I remember just sitting and listening to this CD and just kind of thinking about my life and what am I going to do and where am I going to go and who do I want to be? Just all those, when you're that young, I think at the time I was, 20 or 21, and just really trying to decide, who I wanted to be. What do I want to be? What do I want my life to look like? And this album, I remember just listening to it over and over because, the singer and songwriter in this band is a guy named Mike Rowe. And this isn't your, happy praise and worship kind of blues rock or music in general. This is deep, from the gut, like, man, life is tough. Things don't always go your way. I'm dealing with a lot of things, love, loss, confusion, all the things that I was feeling were all kind of contained in this record. It was just like kind of Mike Rowe's, album of just writing about the struggles of life. And I connected so deeply with it. And I know that, we all have those records that just came along at that certain time. And this is definitely one for me. There were others, but none really as profound as this one that affected me as deeply. And you know what? This isn't going to be a super long episode. I've kind of, I guess, made my point, but I'm curious to find out. And I would love if you guys would comment and tell me about some albums that, you really connected with and that really came along at a time in your life that was really a pivotal moment, and tell me what those records were. And, if you're comfortable, commenting and sharing a little bit about what was going on, it would be awesome. I would love to get to know you guys on a deeper level and know who's listening and who's out there. And, I guess, just listening to this record today, it's kind of made me kind of feel just sort of open about my feelings and thinking about these things. And I'd love to hear from you guys. So if you wouldn't mind sharing in the comments and just letting me know, like, hey, this was an album and this is kind of what was going on in my life at the time, I would love to hear about that. And, if you want to connect with me on other social media platforms, Shad's Guitar Show on Instagram, Shad's Guitar Show on YouTube. I'd love for you guys to follow me and subscribe and let's connect there as well. But anyway, that's really all I wanted to say on this episode. I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys, and hopefully this connects with somebody, and hopefully you guys will feel comfortable to maybe share some of your own stories, because honestly, I would love to hear about it. So that's going to do it for this episode, and I hope to hear from you guys. And just for fun, I'm going to play a little bit of one of my favorite tracks off this album to kind of send you guys off. And I will talk to you guys next time.
Well, all right.